There we are.
Yo, what's up, YouTubers? We're getting a little echo here. I don't know who that's from. This is the Bros Talking Soccer podcast, episode 33. My name is Dave, and I'm here with my brothers Christian and Matt, just like always. So we're gonna get the podcast started in a little bit. I got on my LBF USA color jersey, USA scarf. They're playing Panama a little bit later, so that's what I'm rocking right now. Matt, what's going on?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Thanks, Christian. You doing well? You paying lots of attention?
I'm doing great. I'm watching the Liverpool highlights from the friendly earlier today. So
Okay, so yeah, paying lots of attention.
Who won
Okay.
the match?
we won the match.
Who's we? Do you play for them?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. All right, let's get into the recording now. So let's jump right into it. What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 33 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast, brought to you by Fan Futsal. My name is Dave Knittel, as always, and I'm here with my brothers Christian and Matt to discuss stories from around the soccer world. We're back after a week off from the 4th of July. Christian, how are things?
Things are going quite well, Dave. Other than the hernia that I just found out that I have not much else to complain about.
Yeah, hernias are no fun. So sorry to hear that. Hope you get well soon. Matt, how are things going for you?
Things are great, Dave. Thanks for asking.
That's good. No hernias for you?
Well, I mean, I
Not
have a
this
sports
week.
hernia.
Okay.
I think I
all
have two
right.
sports hernias, but
So
they've been
two-thirds
there
of the
since like sophomore year of high school. So
two-thirds of the Knittles have hernias, and I don't have a hernia as far as I know, but thanks for asking, guys. I am doing well. Christian, do you have our trivia question for this week?
I do have our trivia question for this week, Dave. Thank you for bringing that up. I know you had a backup plan because you have no faith in me, but that's fair because of past results. So my question is in relation to kind of the Confederations Cup and Gold Cup. So a little bit of summer soccer here. It's about Mexico. My question is, in the last 11 games that Mexico has played against European oppositions, how many goals have been scored by either team in those games?
In the last 11 games, Mexico has scored. So, I'm sorry, in the last 11 European games Mexico has played against European opponents. How many goals have they scored and conceded, or just how many total goals?
Yes. How many goals have been in the game? So goals scored and conceded.
Okay. All right, so listeners, stick with us. We'll give our guesses. Matt and I will give our guesses at the end, and Christian will reveal the correct answer.
You can also guess the record as well. I have that.
Okay, we will be sure to do that. Okay, let me quick tell you, before we get into our topics here, let me quick tell you about Fan Futsal, our sponsor. So what is Fan Futsal, you may be wondering? Well, Fan Futsal is a different fantasy soccer experience where you select 5 clubs instead of 8 to 11 individual players for your weekly fantasy teams. You then arrange these clubs into a formation and give them positions which emphasize different scoring attributes. The only fantasy scoring elements are goals scored, goals conceded, and the result of the match. It's that simple. Pick 5 teams, complete your lineup, then sit back and follow match scores to see how you're doing. We have MLS games going on throughout the summer, plus we'll have Liga MX and the Big 5 Euro Leagues when they start back up again later this summer. It's different than any fantasy soccer game you've played before. Since the games are weekly, there's no long commitment. If you like soccer, you're going to like Fan Futsal. Only takes a few seconds to sign up, so join now and start playing at FanFutsal, FanFutsal.com today. And let's jump right into our first topic here. So Paul Pogba had some comments recently in an interview I think he did with Esquire magazine. We'll post a link to the article in full, but let me read you the quote that I want to discuss. So we're the worst team, quote, we're the worst team in the world, yeah, but we have 3 trophies. So people can say what they want. Are we the worst? Okay, no problem. I accept that. I accept that we didn't play well. We didn't do this. We didn't do that. I know what we did. We won 3 trophies. That's all I know. And that's all that matters, because you can be the best team in the world. You can play great football and you win 0 trophies. And who remembers them? No one, right? End quote. Christian, we kind of touched on this subject before, but do you agree with these comments that all that matters are trophies?
I have had this conversation with you guys so many times before, and I would say no, absolutely not. I think it's a travesty to watch some of these teams win trophies that are playing so annoyingly painfully. It's so terrible to watch some of these teams play and win trophies. when they all they do is sit back. Chelsea, specifically in 2012, winning the Champions League, comes to mind. They were so they were so terrible. It drives me crazy. And watching Portugal win the Euros after not winning a game in the group is just embarrassing. That's fucking terrible.
What's the purpose of soccer and sports? Is it to win or is it to entertain?
Both.
If you can only have one,
it's win by entertainment.
You can only have one. Would you rather win or would you rather be entertained?
As a fan?
As a fan, yes, as a fan.
I mean, I want to be entertained, but yeah, I want my team to win. But yeah, I'd rather be entertained first.
Okay, entertainment first. Okay, interesting. There's no right or wrong answer, but that's interesting. Matt, what about you? What do you think of those comments, and what would you rather?
Yeah, I mean, it pains me to say that I agree with Paul Pogba, but I'm actually fine with what he said. I think trophies are probably. I mean, you play to win the game. Sometimes you're going to play teams that are better than you. They're probably a little bit more skilled, so you have to do whatever, play to your strengths. So, Chelsea. I mean, I hated the way Chelsea played in 2012, but there's a lot to say about how they play in like Atletico Madrid. It's a different style of play. I know a lot of fans probably won't like it, but my high school coach kind of adopted it and kind of made me appreciate it a little bit more because we played so defensively. We never let up a goal in playoffs, and we never went anywhere. We always lost in PKs, and that always frustrated me. But there's something to say about playing defense.
Yeah, it's not all about offense. There's a defensive discipline there. Sorry for the echo. I'm getting a little echo. Are you guys hearing that too?
Yeah, I heard it that time.
Okay. Maybe, I don't know if you can hear each other because you're recording in another room. I don't know what's going on. But what I was saying is that offensive so it's not all about offense. So there's defensive discipline that can be just as appreciated. And while I think the purpose of sport is to win games, I totally agree and understand, Christian, where you're coming from. I also don't think his point about no one remembers people who don't win is not valid, because arguably the greatest team ever was the 74 and 78 Dutch team that didn't win anything on the international stage. And so people cite them as one of the best teams ever. You're giving a face. Do you not agree, Christian?
Absolutely not. Wait, how are you going to say they're the best team ever?
People argue
from the
that.
70s? Yeah, I can't
People
imagine that's true. Whatever. I don't know. I don't really know much about them, but I can't imagine that to be true.
Well, they revolutionized the game the way Barcelona revolutionized the game recently.
Yeah, I know they were very good, but can you say a team was that good? I understand what you're saying there.
No. Finish your thought because you're no. Finish your thought because you're about to contradict yourself.
I like entertainment.
Yeah, you were about to say, can you consider them the greatest team ever if they didn't win anything, right?
I was going to say that.
Yeah, so, okay. So,
but that's different. That's saying the greatest team ever. That's not whether I want to watch a game depending on entertainment or winning. That's how you're going to be remembered. And I think people do remember the teams that lose. But you can't say they were the greatest of all team if they win absolutely nothing.
Okay. Fair enough. So his comment was no one remembers them. And so I think we can agree that they can be remembered, but they can't be considered the greatest. We kind of morphed the question into something else that he wasn't exactly saying. So, okay, fair enough. Matt, anything else you want to add?
No, I think you guys got it.
Okay. Let's get into some transfers because no more speculation. Actual things are happening. And let's talk about some of the most highest profile ones. I'm combining words. Highest profile ones. Wayne Rooney moving back to Everton. Romelu Lukaku moving from Everton to United. And let's also just throw in James Rodriguez moving from Real Madrid to Bayern. Of these
what
three
about Alves signing for PSG?
I don't really count that as a transfer. He was a free agent, and that is something we can talk about too. But let's stick with. Do you want to talk about him too? Fine, let's throw him in. Okay, throw Alves to PSG in there. So of those 4 transfers then, which do you think is going to work out best for the clubs that got them? Matt?
I think Everton.
With
Not
Rooney?
necessarily because of Rooney, but the way their team fits now.
All right, now let's focus on the transfers and the players, because I know that you're incredibly high on Everton, but let's talk about the transfers and their impacts.
Okay, so PSG already had a really good right back, but he looks like he's leaving, so I don't think Alves is going to make too big of an impact there. Ibra getting replaced with Lukaku. I think Ibra is probably a little bit better at this point. I think Lukaku is a great signing. He's going to be better, 2, 3, 4 years from now. He signed a 5-year deal, right?
Does it even matter? Because he could be transferred like in 2
Yeah,
years.
I mean,
Like he'll be there
yeah,
for a
but
little
technically he's there for I think 5 years.
bit. Yeah.
So I think long term it's definitely the better signing. But I think at this point, like for next season, how well United would do, I still think Ibra is better. He had an incredible year last year. He does a lot of things that go like kind of under the radar. Rooney to Everton, yeah, I guess he's probably not the best because they lost Lukaku, and I don't think that's necessarily an upgrade to go to Rooney. But he
Yeah.
is going to bring some leadership. And
James
to Bayern, I think Bayern are losing a little bit of depth. Lam's leaving, Xabi Alonso's leaving. I think James Rodriguez is great depth, especially in the Bundesliga. I think that's incredible. I mean, they've always had depth, but I think they lost it. So I think James is probably the best one.
Okay, so James for Bayern. Christian, what about you from the club perspective? Which of the 4 transfers do you think is going to work out best for the club?
Okay, Rooney to Everton definitely is the sentimental signing of the season, I would say. Definitely so far, at least. It's kind of cool to see someone like that go back to a club that raised him up. But it's unfortunate he had to play for the 2 worst teams possible, as I was taught to feel as a Liverpool fan. Other than that, this is tough. I mean, Dani Alves is a great signing, but I don't think we could say he's the best signing. And Matt, you mentioned REA is leaving PSG. I did not hear that at all.
Yeah, I think the Milan clubs are the favorite. City are in the bidding, but it looks like one of the Milan clubs is going to get them.
That's all right. That's interesting. But Alves has been winning trophies nonstop at every club he's been at for the past whatever amount of years. He was even winning trophies in Sevilla. When he was there, he won the Europa League, I think, at least once. I think he may have won it twice. But that's a really great depth player. But I would say the signing by far is James right now, in my opinion. Great of a business deal that was from Bayern to sign him on loan for 2 years with an option to buy when he's going to be, 27 in 2 years? They have a chance to buy him for 35 million. That's insanity to me that a player of that quality become that cheap in the market that we're in now. And Bayern don't really have a true attacking mid, I would say, and he would fit perfectly into that role.
Okay. So
was it
go ahead.
Gylfi Sigurdsson's valued at 50 million. Meanwhile, James is 36, 37?
Something like that. I mean, but there's inherent inflation in England just because of how much money is there, and so that kind of comes with the territory there. For contrarian standpoint, I'm going to actually argue that Lukaku to United is going to be more of the most valuable. I know, Matt, you think that Ibra is better than Lukaku. Ibra is incredible, but I think at this point in his career, he's not as dynamic as Lukaku can be. Lukaku's a little bit more mobile. He makes a little bit more runs. He's not quite as clinical as Ibra, but I think him joining Man U gives them more options and more flexibility in some of the systems that they want to play, and his hold-up play and passing is a little bit underrated. So I think that I'm going to say Lukaku was probably the best. Were you surprised by any of these 4 transfers, Matt?
I was surprised by James. I was surprised by and Dani Alves. There was so much linked to Alves to City, and then was it PSG more than doubled what City were offering him out of nowhere. They're paying an absurd amount. And I saw like his new wife works in Paris. I think that's where she works. So it makes sense for his career, but I was surprised.
Okay, Christian, what about you? Any of these surprising?
I would think, well, Hamas surprised me just because I feel like it came out of left field. I didn't hear a single rumor about it, and then yesterday I woke up and it happened. That caught me off guard. But Lukaku probably was the most surprising because it seemed like everyone thought he was going to Chelsea, and last second, it just changed. All of a sudden, he was hanging out with Pogba. He was in negotiations, and he was signed.
Yeah, I think they're neighbors in LA and stuff. So I think they're like friends.
Yeah, so they're both on vacation.
Why are they neighbors in LA?
They rented houses near each other and are hanging out.
I thought they own them.
I don't think so. I think that they're just vacationing there. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that they're just like renting out houses and on their summer vacation.
Oh, I saw somewhere where Lukaku was saying how they've been neighbors for years.
Okay, I could be wrong about that, and they could own homes, but I thought that they were just renting. Anyways, doesn't matter. Semantics at that point. For me, I mean, it could be argued that all of these were somewhat of a surprise. Probably the biggest surprise for me was Alves because I had heard or read, I shouldn't say heard, I had read a couple things on Reddit a few days before James moved that like Bayern was after him. Lukaku was either United or Chelsea. It looked more like Chelsea, but United kind of sealed the deal. Rooney back to Everton seemed like his only exit strategy. Alves, like I thought he already had a signed deal with Man City, and I was very confused when all of a sudden it was reported that he was going to PSG, and then he tweeted that he had signed there, and so that was probably the most surprising because it just looked like that whole saga was over, and then all of a sudden he wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, for as much as I like Danny Alves, that guy is just after the money, and that bothers me a little bit.
I don't know if he's after the money. I mean, with all the trophies he's won and the clubs he's played for, I don't think you could say that.
He was
at Barca
the reason
for
he didn't
10
stay
years.
at Barca. Yeah, but he didn't stay at Barca because he wasn't getting enough money.
He didn't
Because
stay
they
at
didn't
Barca
value
because
him.
he got blamed. He said it's because he got blamed for everything that went wrong. The president didn't treat him right.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Not that I do either, but I think that he felt undervalued, and there's nothing wrong with him getting value for what he's worth. So with that, let's take a quick break, but we're going to be right back with segment 2 in just a few moments. Stay with us. Okay, welcome back. We didn't have a Bros Talking Soccer MLS Fan Futsal game this week due to MLS being off for the Gold Cup. We don't have a Bros Talking Soccer game coming up, but there is a midweek MLS game already created on fanfutsal.com. Go check that out, enter it, and play against us. Now back to our topics right here. Recently, Lionel Messi signed a new contract with Barca that will keep him at the club until 2021. He's now 30, so what is the math? So that puts him at 34 or so.
34.
I'm not sure exactly what the terms of the deal were, but I'm sure he's making a truckload of money. Also has a $300 million Euro clause. Christian, was this the right move for Barca to re-sign him?
100%. That's ridiculous to even question.
Will he ever be sold though? So what I'm driving at here is, do you think that they're just going to
leave though? I think he will leave at 34. I think he will go back to Argentina.
Really interesting.
But yeah,
even though
maybe not at 34, maybe 35, 36, but I think he will.
Okay.
But I think this is the right move for now.
So you don't think it would have been in Barca's best interest to cash out now while his value is the highest and it's arguably going to be diminishing returns in the near future? Legit question. No, I'm being absolutely serious. So if
absolutely not.
If Man City or China came in and offered 300 million euros, which would finance a new stadium more or less for Barcelona and set the club up for long-term financial success, you don't think that they should consider it?
No, because he's winning them trophies left and right.
Okay.
The amount of money they're getting from winning the trophies, for being in the competitions, from the TV rights from those deals, they're bringing in money from him. His shirt sales alone probably are up through the roof. He is, I don't even know what the word is right now. I can't think of one, but He is the best of his generation, and he is a marketing ploy that they have now for 4 more years. And I could see him leaving after that, maybe 2023, something like that. But I see him coming back to Barcelona as well. And I don't know if he'll ever manage there, but I think he'll be involved with the club. And he deserves everything he's getting after what he's done.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I wasn't trolling. Those were legit questions. So Matt, I'm going to pose them to you. Is there any reason for Barcelona to consider selling him, or no? Are you in Christian's camp?
Well, when you first said it, it was funny because you were just like, "Oh, was this the right move to sign Messi?" That's just how the question was first posed. So, yeah, it was the right move to keep Messi at this point. Obviously, you're going to get more value or get less value every year as it goes on if they were planning on selling him. But I don't know. I feel like he means too much to the club. There's no, I feel like clubs need to have players that they're loyal to and sending the players to their clubs. I think it's good for the game. I think it's a good look for Barcelona to keep maybe a generational talent like Neymar as well. If they just kick Messi to the curb, I feel like that looks bad for Neymar. Then he might want to leave in a couple of years. So I think it's good that the club's showing like loyalty to the players that get them there.
Yeah, and I think that there's only like 4 players left from that 08-09 team when Pep first took over. And I think they want to keep at least a little bit of that core together for as long as they can. It's nostalgic, and a lot they are great together. Iniesta is getting older, and I can't imagine he's going to play many more years. He's still a freaking good in midfield, but he's going to keep aging. There have been talks about him leaving. I don't see it happening, but it could. And PK hasn't been what he was a couple of years ago. Busquets, even under Enrique, was not great. We're going to see how he does under the new coach, but I think they are trying to keep that core together.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive how long they've lasted together. Anyways, it's been 8-9 years at this point, which is an eternity in soccer terms to keep together a group of players. So, you guys made all great points, so I'm not even gonna berate the point. I think I agree with everything you've said. So let's move right along here. Recently, the BBC had an interview with an anonymous fan about illegal streams in watching soccer matches. So it's a little different in the US versus the UK with regards to like paying for TV and some of the channels and whatnot. But like the way TV works over there. But the biggest stat I wanted to talk about was apparently 2/3 of EPL fans watch matches on illegal streams. So first of all, Matt, were you surprised that this number is so high, or does that sound, accurate?
Well, from when we went to England and basically what you've told me, and those are my only 2 real experiences with it. I know they don't really get the same coverage like as America does with football, like our football, which is our biggest sport here. So it's so easy. You can watch any game pretty much. You're definitely watching your hometown team. You get at least 2 more games on the Prime networks, and then you have Red Zone to watch. All the, that's for like the fantasy lovers. You get your Red Zone in. So I think here we have a little bit of a luxury with our games. So I think it's fine. I'm not saying it's fine, but I mean you got to watch the games somehow. But I don't get why the broadcasting isn't really good over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, so not that it's the same, but like MLS in the US, so they'll have a handful of games on, nationally, maybe 1 or 2 per week, and then you get usually your local team. But like because I live in California, I pay for the MLS Live package where I can watch every single game because I want to watch the Union matches from out here. And so I think it's something similar where fans need to pay like 50 euros or pounds for access to a channel that carries some of the bigger games. Now, I don't think they even get local games without paying for those channels. So that's a little bit odd and different, but I did just want to make that point clear. Christian, what about you? You know, fish face. Were you surprised by those numbers?
I am surprised. You know what? No, I'm going to take that back. I am not surprised by those numbers. Think about the size of the world. And I know it's pretty crazy. Just think about it for a second. Let's just take a moment.
It's so big, man.
Okay. So it's just so big. I would say there are so many places that don't have the money to afford, I guess, the streaming and pay the companies that own the rights to the TVs, that it's going to be hard for the channels to stream. And a lot of people around the world don't even have TVs. It's hard. It really is tough to get cable for sports. I mean, even in America, you have to pay a premium to get certain channels, and not everyone can afford that. So people go online and stream it that way. Most people don't do what you do in the MLS. They just would stream it illegally because it's easier and they don't want to pay for it. And so it's the same thing with music. We saw that with LimeWire all those years ago.
Oh, man. That's a name from the
people
past.
Want to get away. Yeah, I know. Throwing it back. Yeah. It's just stuff people do to get away with without paying and get what they want.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of it. There was like Banzi. What the hell was that? There was one other one that was like LimeWire. I can't remember. But I don't know. As I've grown up and matured and become the fine, upstanding adult that I am these days, I have kind of come to terms with the fact that everything shouldn't be free. And so people are putting out this content, and rightfully so, that they should be compensated for it. So, I kind of feel that way. And so I'm trying to understand that more. I buy all my iTunes these days when I want to buy music, which isn't very often, because I just listen to Pandora or whatnot. And like with MLS Live, I pay for it, but it's also easier to do it that way too. So just to counteract a little bit, I think it's sometimes more difficult to find like illegal streams. And so I'd rather just pay. It's nice and easy. I know where to look. I know the quality. And so I just do it that way. So do you have any sort of moral issues with illegal streams real quick, Matt? Issues with illegal streams.
Okay. Yeah, I don't care, but I mean, I assume somebody cares.
Okay, that's
There's
fine.
bigger issues in the world. That's like 180th on the pecking order of things that like matter.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I just wanted to ask the question. Christian, what about you? Morally, illegal streams.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, your name is Christian.
Okay. Sorry, no, it broke up a little bit there, so I couldn't really hear what was going on. Saying, do you have a saddle for that high horse of yours, Dave? I'm going to go with it's wrong, but is it really that wrong? A lot of people are going to do it because they are going to get away with it. And yeah, you might feel a little bit bad about it. But if your team's winning and you're getting to watch, nobody cares.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, no, I'm not trying to be on a high horse. I'm just saying how the perspective that I'm coming from. And so, yeah. So with that, that's it for us in segment 2. But we're going to have one more musical break, and then we're right back real soon for segment 3. Stick around.
Giddy up.
Okay, welcome back for segment 3. And let's kick this segment off real quick with discussion about VAR, which is video assisted referee, I believe, or video assistant replay. I think video assistant referee is what it stands for.
It's referee.
Yeah, and it was implemented at the most recent Confederations Cup. Christian, what did you think of how the trials went and your impressions of VAR during it?
Honestly, it helps get the calls correct. Everything I saw in the tournament was right, and I would say a lot of those offside calls, especially I remember the Chile one, I think early in the tournament, would have been missed. Like the assistant referee didn't put up his flag, so I don't know if they're told to, if it's close, not put it up. I don't really know what the rule is with the VAR, and you're just supposed to go to that. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't
we aren't taught that in ref class yet. I can't really attest.
Maybe when you're at a higher level. You'll get into that.
Maybe, yeah. In a couple years, Dave. I'll get there. I just think that it is helpful, but it kills the flow of the game. There was so many times they do their little box signal, stupid little box, and they go to the replay, and I feel like it takes at least 3 minutes every time they have to do it, and it really is a killer. I feel like they could make that, and they'll find out.
Yeah, and so this was the first time, so hopefully they improve on that, because I totally agree with you. I think it took way too long. Also, I don't agree with what you're saying about all the decisions got right, because I think the play that you're talking about with Chile offsides, there was debate one way or the other on whether it really was offsides, and then in the final, the Chile guy threw a legit elbow right to the German.
Oh yeah, that one
face.
I don't understand.
They did a review, and the guy only ended up with a yellow card when it was quite clearly a red card. So even when we have VAR, which is supposed to resolve the whole debate issue, it's not. There's still items for fans to debate, right or wrong, and so I don't know how much it really solves. So that's just my perspective. Matt, what did you think about it at the Confederations Cup?
Yeah, I thought, it did save some calls. I know the Portugal one, I think it was like their opening game or second game. I think like Pepe was offsides. It was like a floated ball in, so he like ran back onsides, and then they ended up, I think, scoring right after that. But it was challenged I don't know what you call it, reviewed. Yeah, reviewed.
Sent the red flag out.
Yeah, but that's what I was gonna say. I think a good idea would be like 2 challenges. Each coaches, kind of like in football, where there's not every controversial call, but like you get a certain number of stops.
But would you think that coaches would use them strategically? So say I'm up 1-0 late in a match, and I haven't used either of my challenges. So similar to how coaches use subs or players use injuries to delay matches, do you think that might happen? And are you concerned about that? So you just challenge something just to break up the game and slow momentum down.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I didn't think about it that way, but when there are calls that are missed, that could help. I'm fine with no replay at all, but I'm just saying, like, if it is in place, then limit it.
I agree, but I would rather the referees and the specialists, so whether you have a 5th official who's solely video or they come up with a more efficient way of doing it. I'm also fine without VAR. I think it's coming inevitably and there's no stopping it. So there's got to be ways to streamline it and make it more efficient, though. I
could agree with
Go ahead, Christian. Finish your point and then we'll move on.
Okay. I was just going to say, Matt's point about challenge flags, I initially thought it was kind of ridiculous, but I kind of think that maybe 1 a game for a coach would be interesting to see, and they can only use it on penalty decisions or like blatant violent play or something like that. Nothing like with the corner or a goal kick, not throw in, not just a regular foul. Only something very serious and affects the game. Maybe even offsides you can include in that too.
And then referees then there would be no other video assisted replay? There would just be 2 a game, 1 for each team? Or would referees still have discretion?
I would say give the power to the referees until that's called, until a challenge is made.
Give the power of the referees to do VAR or no?
Like give them the full decision. No VAR until a challenge is made.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so let's just leave it at that. But that was interesting to follow, and it'll be interesting to follow because VAR is coming, and so it'll be interesting to see how those developments go. So speaking of the Confederations Cup, let's talk about Mexico's coach Juan Carlos Osorio, who had a couple different incidents at the tournament. So early on, he got into a shouting match with a New Zealand assistant. He yelled something that rhymes with Brother Tucker at him. And in the 3rd place match, he got into an official's face. I can't remember if it was the linesman or the 4th official, but he was like whispering and yelling in this guy's ear. It was really weird, and it looked like he was yelling more explicitives because they didn't get a penalty, and he bumped them. And so he ultimately ended up with a 6-match ban for these antics. Matt, did you see any of this? And do you think that the suspension is justified? 6 matches enough? Should he got more or less? What do you think?
I did not see the incidents, but from what you described, he was acting a bit, a bit much. He's being a little extra.
He was being a little
So,
extra.
yeah. So I don't think. I mean, 6 games is That's a lot of time.
Especially in international tournaments. That's a very
Yeah.
long time.
What did Wenger do when he was just like contesting a call, right? And it was like at the end of a game where like he got suspended for like 2 years, not 2
I think
years.
he was just trying to
games
zip
this
his
year.
jacket.
Yeah, he couldn't get it in his pockets. But from what I remember from that, it didn't seem like he was like threatening or yelling explicitives at the fourth official. So I don't think what. Why are you making that face?
What was that word you just used?
Explicitives? Expletives?
Okay. But
Okay, let's keep it moving. All right, but also Matt. So in Wenger's case, the games are less because there's so many matches in a domestic campaign, whereas like 6 matches internationally, like equating that to like to like domestic league, that's like 10 to 15 match suspension. So that's pretty crazy. I would say pretty hefty. It's not crazy because I think it warranted it, but it's pretty hefty. Christian, what about you? What did you think about his antics and the suspension?
It's unacceptable for him to be attacking referees like that, and I think he deserves exactly what he got. Yes, 6 games is a lot in international play, but why is your smile on your face like that?
Because Matt's making faces. Come on, keep it focused here.
I think that it is warranted, and he shouldn't be reacting that way. He should be professional in his job, and I know you get caught up in the passion of the game, but you have to carry yourself in a certain way to represent your country.
Agreed. And I think that the suspension was justified and his behavior was completely inappropriate. Let's close here with a crazy story from South Africa where I will tweet out the link, so go read it because it's complicated and there's a lot of different names and teams mentioned. But basically, a club in the lower division failed to get promotion. So the owners of that club that failed to get promotion bought the promoted club, renamed them, moved them to their city, and basically is going to be playing next year with the same name, same location. I don't even know. It may even be the exact same stadium where the club that failed to get promotion would have been playing. And so apparently this has happened in Scotland before. It's happened in Mexico, and it's happened in other places around the world. Is this right, Christian? And how do you stop or prevent this if it's not right?
I don't think it's right, but I don't know how you can stop it. Oh. Teams are going to buy whoever they want if they can afford it, and they'll just they have the power. The owners do have the right to move their team, I guess. I didn't realize they could do that, but I guess that's something you can do. If you buy another team, you can just move your team around, and it isn't right morally, and you have to accept that. But a lot of people don't accept when they lose. I am one of those people who doesn't like to lose at all. So
if you had
one way to go about preventing that.
So if you had the money, you would do this?
No, because I am passionate about the team that I care about.
Okay.
But I would have
this in the back
of my mind.
What if they had the same name?
If they had the same name.
Same name, same crest.
No, it doesn't count.
Okay.
No.
Fair enough.
Not the Red Bulls. I don't care about that.
Okay. Matt, what about you? What do you think about this whole situation?
So is the original team still in? So are they the 2 identical clubs? Or they morph into one? Or
no? I think that the other club is still going to be in the second division. I believe they may have been sold or something happened. With the second division club is still going to exist. I don't know where. I think they may be moving. But yeah, so that answers your question.
So the fan base, my question is weird for the fans. I feel like it's a weird, I don't have a problem with, if you're that rich, you can't beat them, buy them. Whatever. Buy my way into the top flight, but I don't know how you're gonna get support. Like, are the people just gonna drop like the old club and be like, all right, well, we didn't make it, but I guess we have a first division club now.
Well, if it's got the same crest and it plays in the same stadium, is it a different club or is it the same club, just in a higher division? Think about that.
Well, there's different players, right? And management.
Management, maybe. But, I mean, it's still got the same crest. I mean, there's different players and management at clubs all the time with all the roster turnover and managers leaving teams. So is it really different than kind of what happens over the course of 2 to 3 years?
Wait, so are they the same team?
Yes.
They have the same name.
I believe they have the same name.
Okay, so that's like saying Barcelona and Barcelona B are the same team.
No, that's not what I'm saying. So say you were a fan of Fulham, right? And say Fulham was in the promotional playoffs and they ended up losing to Huddersfield Town, right? So Huddersfield is in the Prem next year. Fulham isn't. So Fulham decides, let's just buy Huddersfield Town, move them to West London, name them Fulham, give them the same crest, and they're playing in Craven Cottage now in London in the first division, so in the Premier League. And Fulham, as they exist right now, were sold, and maybe they become Huddersfield Town or they become somebody else. So that's what's happening here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't feel like that's my team anymore, though.
Okay, even though you're
Like,
still
as a
going
fan,
to
I
Craven
definitely
Cottage?
wouldn't. The owner, or from a fan perspective here?
From a fan perspective. So you normally
As a
walk
fan
to the-
perspective, I would not feel like it's the same.
Okay, that's fair enough. And
You just
I don't
gave
think
up
I
your
would
entire
either.
team and made a new one.
Yeah. I think that there should be some sort of rule to stop or prevent this, because I think it's completely circumventing the sporting nature of these promotion and relegation leagues. Like, if you're going to have promotion and relegation, like, you can't do this. If you don't, and it's like the United States where they're franchises and you move them around more for business purposes, and it's more, yes, there's sporting nature, but it's not entertainment. But there's certainly a level of entertainment. I think it's more understandable there. Matt, you had something to say?
How would you guys feel about if it was a hometown club? Like, say the Union, if there was a promotion system here. So, like, say, because we're from Philadelphia, what would you say would happen if the Union, got relegated, or dissolved, or something horrible happened and the owners bought, another MLS team and then moved them to Philly?
So dissolved is different than relegated.
I realized that after, but
yeah. So relegated, I wouldn't feel right about it. If there was a promotion and relegation system, it's based on sporting nature at that point, and we just buy a first division team and move them here, I just wouldn't feel right about it. Christian?
I agree with that. I feel the same way.
Okay. Cool. All right. Anything else you guys wanted to mention about this topic or any of the other topics we've covered?
No, I do not.
Okay. Matt, you're shaking your head no. I wanted to mention two things. First, I will tweet out this link and we'll put it in the show notes, but there was an amazing play by this player who saved the ball from going out of bounds. Sounds like someone's at the Knittle household. Dogs are going a little crazy. Saves the ball from going out of bounds with his foot,
my God.
then with his head while he's sliding, then gets up, crosses the ball in, scores a goal. It was amazing. Quite a play. I've never seen anything quite like it, and so I will tweet out that link from our account, so you should check it out. Lastly, I wanted to call out French Guiana, who's playing at the Gold Cup right now. I don't know if you guys are following this, but
I saw it today.
yeah, basically, it's a complicated situation, but basically French Guiana is not its own nation according to FIFA. They are a subset, or I don't know the proper political term, but they're affiliated with France and they're technically a part of France. So they can't play in a FIFA official competitions, and they aren't subject to the same rules as FIFA. So meaning the way that they operate right now, France players, so France internationals after 5 years can play for Guyana if they haven't played for France. And there's a couple of other situations where this is the case. I'm giving you all this backstory because in the Gold Cup, it is not a FIFA official tournament, but they are using FIFA rules. And so by those rules, any France internationals can't play for French Guiana in that tournament. Florent Malouda hasn't played for France in a number of years, but is playing for French Guiana. Didn't play in the first match. French Guiana knew that they were going to have to forfeit the match and knew that it was against the rules and he was an ineligible player, but fielded him anyways in their match last night. They tied 0-0 with Honduras, but Honduras is automatically awarded a 3-0 victory. That is absolutely crazy to me, and honestly not fair to the other team. So Canada played French Guiana and beat them 4-2 fairly. Honduras played them with an ineligible player. They drew 0-0, but now Honduras is going to get a 3-0 victory. And so I just don't think it's right. Like, if you know he's ineligible, but you're going to play him anyway, play him in all the games or don't play him at all. Like, I just don't think it's fair, right? So I don't know. Christian, do you have anything to say or thoughts on this?
If you play an ineligible player, every single game should be a 3-0 forfeit, even if you only use him once.
Agreed.
That's how I feel about that.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah. So all your group stage games should be 3-0.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Yeah, that'd be a good compromise. Matt, any thoughts on this weird situation?
Life's not fair. Get over it.
Okay, there you have it. Christian, let's go back to you. Recap our trivia question, and Matt and I will give our answers.
Before I do that, I'm watching that video of the guy who saved the ball and crossed it in. I think my favorite part is the referee who is leaning over him as he keeps it in with his head, and he's like waves in like that it's in, but like he's like almost like come here to the opposition. It's such a weird like position that he's in. I don't know what he's doing, but
the listeners definitely check it out. We'll tweet out that link.
Yeah. Oh. All right. So my question is, again, 11 games that Mexico has played against European teams. How many goals have been scored and conceded in those games?
You said 11?
11. I played again, so I just bumped it up.
Is this in official competitions or just any?
No, just the last ones. Last 11 in all competition, including friendlies.
Okay. I'm going
And what's the record, if you would like to throw that out there?
Okay. I'm going to say they've scored 18, conceded 20, and had a...
I don't...
18 and 20, so 38. And
okay.
I'm going to say they've won 6, lost 4, and drawn 1. Matt, your guesses?
Okay.
All right. So the only games that are coming to mind are ones where they didn't score or concede a lot.
Except for they just lost to Germany 4-1.
Yeah, other than that one.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with scored 11, let up 11, so 22, and then won 4, lost 4, tied 3.
Okay. Christian, what are our answers?
Right. So, Dave, you were like super close on both. It is 39 goals.
Oh, so close.
Which I think is a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
In 11 games. It's pretty good. Like 3.5 goals a game. Not bad. And their record was 5-1-5.
Damn it. Only one loss?
Only one? No, one draw.
Oh, don't say it the American way. 5-5-1. 5-1-5 is so confusing.
I do it in the soccer way.
No, it's confusing. So 5 wins, or say it out at least. So 5 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw. Okay. Thanks, Christian.
5 wins, 1 draw, 5 losses.
Okay, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in this week. Check out all the links to the stories we discussed in this episode, as well as the videos that we were discussing. They'll be in the podcast notes, as well as we'll tweet them out from our Twitter handle, which is @BTSoccerPod. If you want to get in contact with us, our email is bros.talking fanfutsal.soccer@gmail.com, and everything was brought to you by Fan Futsal. Check that out. Christian and Matt, thank you both for being here, and thank you all listeners for tuning in this week. We will talk to you next week. See you, everyone. All right. Anyone still watching on YouTube? See ya. Matt, you can cut the broadcast.
Stop broadcast.